Okay, hold on. Right now, we are going there. Okay, now it is live streamed. Hopefully, I will be able to know where it is. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. This is Edip. It is 17 February 2023. And I am middle of a lot of mess. I am packing the books and things. We are going to move, and therefore I'm not really even comfortable in this chair. It is low. I don't know even how to raise it. But anyway, we have several people. We are going to, God willing, continue even if we move. And we have Leslie Terabassi, God bless him. He joined me in revising the previous translation. As a special edition, it was published as Oxford University, how this Oxford Institute for British Islam as a special edition for that one. And yeah, here there should have been a table comparing the Quran versus Sunni religion or Hadith, but somehow I rushed it and it fell from here basically during printing. It didn't fit when they put this one there, it didn't fit. But I am going to fix it because I was planning the conference trip, everything. Meanwhile, I was juggling this one and I didn't do well. But it is printed. Thank you very much. Leslie Terabassi, he is right now the fourth translator joined us. And we, God willing, it is a continual, correct, continuous or continual, continue with interruptions, but it is a continual task, inshallah, God willing. And meanwhile, we have here, we have also Rainbow Books website dedicated for this. To put your suggestions. And here, for example, you go chapter number. Let me reduce this one here. You can click on this just and double click and put chapter number and then colon and verse numbers. You can bring that one. And then you can give your feedback there in the blank here and send it. And you can sign it. And your feedback will be on your email, your name, and therefore we'll be receiving as an Excel document. And I will be able to put them in order, verse order, and then on let's say on a single verse, there are multiple feedback or criticism and suggestion, and I will see them under each other, and I will know the name of the person. And I would like to give credit for every contribution. And also, if I have further question, maybe I want to discuss with you, I will have your email to do. And also, you can go to the chapter number here. Somehow, S put here like surah verse. I don't know, it should be C, not Ch. Okay, this is it. And but in this one, I didn't see footnotes there. That's the problem. I asked the person who is managing this to put footnotes there so that you will see also footnotes, endnotes that has great debates, discussions, arguments for why we translate that particular verse different than traditional ones, correct? Before we start, Leslie, today I learned something I want to share with you. I think I found it very interesting, fascinating. The coincidences that I see, and it appears to be coincidence, but it is not, honestly. And here, I shared it on my Twitter account. This verse, chapter 13, I think verse 17. Okay, this is the first page. What do you see? Do you see your pictures on the bottom of the page? I don't know whether you see it the way it shows or
I see our pictures on the side on a bar.
okay. Mine on the left side. I don't know which
I
one is
think you can,
the one on
yeah, you
YouTube.
can move them around, I think.
Maybe my kind of the location of the menu, our pictures, I think it is mine is going to be seen by people. Therefore, it is covering. I need to make it different. I don't like this one. Huh? Okay.
You can move the pictures, I think, to different sides.
Okay, now I
Yeah.
am able to. The orientation was different. Okay, here it is. Now they are doing some tests on GPT, Chat GPT. Very interesting. I asked some questions. It's very good. Sometimes it is better than my college students, philosophy students. Very good. They passed the Turing test. Do you know about the Turing test? If what is human being? Well, what is robot? What is different between robot and human being? Well, it says if you put them behind doors, you don't see them, means you are not biased because of their nose and their hair and stuff, because this is a really simple bias. The skin, the hair, the nose, the ear, it's not what make us as human being. And therefore, to eliminate that bias, the appearing of meat bias, meat and bone bias, and stinky smell bias, and just put behind 10 doors a few computers and a few humans, mix them, and then go behind the door, ask them questions and receive answer, ask questions, receive answers, and then be able to know exactly which ones behind which door, which ones are humans, which one are computers. If you are able to get correct, then if you are able to identify them, yes, humans are different. But if you are confusing them, mixing them, well, they are, by definition, they are like humans. They are humans. Anyway, this is interesting. It's getting very interesting. This ask about to ChatGPT about if monkey on with handwriter typing handwrite what's not handwriter typewriter, a monkey typewriting for infinity, whether we'll be able to produce Shakespeare's book. Well, this is very interesting. Of course, I objected that one. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, of course, there are a lot taken for granted. There are a lot of given conditions like time, space, the typewriter over there, the laws that make the process work, the pieces, mechanical pieces work, the monkey and all the atoms, molecules, and cells and organs integrated, creating monkey. And monkey must have two hands, but some fingers, the size of the finger must fit. And then, of course, the monkey will have the patience and energy, will type. So many given stuff. All of these is taken for granted and for eternity. Anyway, okay, this one, of course.
Monkey can, monkey do, huh?
Yeah, here is the verse. This is, I found it very interesting. This verse 13:7 says, he sent down water from the sky, so valleys flowed according to their capacity, and the flood produces foam. From what they burn to smelt jewelry or goods, similar foam is produced. It is in such a manner that God strikes the falsehood with the truth. As for the foam, it passes away. As for what benefits the people, it remains in the earth. As for what benefits the people, it remains in the earth. It is such that God cites the examples. Honestly, God knows my innermost thoughts and intentions. I had always problem with this foam. Why foam? kind of something that disappears, goes to nothingness. Isn't that a better example? This is not very common. I didn't like it, honestly. But very interestingly, an article on about nothingness, the similarity here is, I said, the similarity between the metaphors is an interesting coincidence. Nothingness is called form, quantum form. And then here it is, look at the article. Quantum form basically about nothingness. Supposedly things come from nothingness because nothingness is not really nothing, because still there is some energy there. Even you create complete perfect vacuum in space, there is still some energy appearing, disappearing, like foam on top of the beer. They liken it. But what is the coincidence? They come up with the one of the word quantum form for nothingness. The metaphor they pick is just amazing, that fits exactly what the Quran uses. I see just a prophecy of the Quran. So many these things, just amazing. You know, the word hadith, God condemns hadith throughout, since the beginning, besides the Quran. Which hadith do you follow besides God and his signs? Or this is not a fabricated hadith, many others. And then here it is, they come up with the word hadith. They ignore all other good words they could use for these stories, Ibn Falan, Abu Falan, correct? They could call it hikmah, they could call aqawil, they could call whatever, many other words they could, you know, there are about 57 attributes for the Quran, dhikr or many others, athar, but they came up with the word hadith. Very interesting. Okay, I don't want to dwell on it further. Let's go to where we left and let Leslie continue. Leslie, I opened Quran, Quranics.org. You said verse what?
2:26.
26. Okay, we are there. It's about something called, people think it is mosquito, correct?
Yeah, God does not shy away from citing the example of a mosquito.
Okay. Mosquito or small thing, yeah, about that time. Let me see. Leslie, would you like to read, or you want to? You are right now the host. You are the one, and just I want to be the second, the third.
Well, I'm a co-host, but so maybe what I can do is maybe invite first of
anyone you want.
Yeah, well, I would like to maybe just invite anyone there who is with us now, whether he or she would like to volunteer and read a few of these verses. Anyone,
Better
gentlemen?
diction than mine. Better diction and accent than mine should be. we prefer, correct?
We can rotate this. Last time we had someone,
Okay.
and maybe this
Go
time
ahead.
someone who hasn't read yet.
Go ahead.
Anyone, gentlemen?
Okay.
Well, if nobody wants to volunteer, then sorry, go ahead. Yes. Who was that?
So just read this in English?
Yeah, that's right. Slowly, not too fast, not too slow. So who was that?
You go first. That's okay.
I can go. It's okay. So God does not shy away from citing the example of a mosquito or anything above it. As for those who acknowledge, they know that it is the truth from their Lord. As for the unappreciative, they say, what does God want this example? He lets many stray by it, and he guides many, but he only lets stray the evildoers. Should I continue? The next?
Yeah, please do, yeah.
The ones who break their pledge to God after making the covenant, and they sever what God had ordered to be joined. Moreover, they make corruption on earth. These are the losers.
Okay.
Okay, I'll read. How can you not appreciate
Please,
God
I'm sorry, I
when
want
you were
to
dead?
pull your attention, Carl, to this verse. Is very. There are
Okay.
certain keywords similar to chapter 74 about the 19. Did you notice? And say, what does God want? What does God mean with this example? They don't understand. He lets many astray by it, and he guides many, but he only lets astray the evildoers. It is chapter 74, verse 31. And there is the word mistal here. There are some keywords common. And it seems that this might be, in the future, the implication, the real fulfillment of the verse will realize, and at that time this will become a matter of a debate and discussion. And that is my feeling about this verse. The real fulfillment of this verse we haven't witnessed. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. On 228, how can you not appreciate God when you were dead and he brought you to life? Then he makes you die. He brings you to life, then to him you return. He is the one who created for you all that is in the earth. Moreover, he attended to the universe and made it 7 heavens. He is aware of all things. So sometimes I wonder if the 7 heavens is referring to what they call these alternate universes, but I don't know. Anybody?
Which verse did you read about 29, correct?
Yes. I know in quantum physics they talk about.
Thank you. Go ahead. Verse 28, I think is very interesting about the order of the وَكُنْتُمْ أَمْوَاتًا, you were dead, and we revived you, and then God put you in death, and then he revives you, correct? There are 4 things here: 2 death and 2 revival, 2 life. And it is, that means our creation by itself is like 0 becomes 1, and then the creation is different than life and death. The creation is from nothingness, God create. It's by itself creates on its own category. It is separate. You cannot call it life, because life is meaningful with death. And life and death cannot happen without creation of something, because it is the function of a created being. Therefore, first creation, and then death is created to created being to send to another universe. Basically, death is the transition between one universe to another, teleportation of mind to another universe. It is become unconscious because the mind is not connected to a body to function, to create consciousness. You remember the Quran referred to, compares death to sleep, and the only difference is during death, the connection between mind and body is separated permanently, correct? The connection is permanently severed. But it doesn't mean that it is like a ghost. Human mind, human consciousness is a collection, a pack of knowledge, information. Now, it is in God's book, and also it could be in the body, but it is order, it is knowledge. I'm sorry, not knowledge, it is information. And therefore, that information is teleported to another universe. When teleportation happens, it is consciousness, unconsciousness, it is death. And therefore, first creation, and then sending to this lowly universe. Dunya means the lowest universe, specifically created for the test. God sent, and then it was the death, and then revived here, the birth, and then we die, means teleportation, transition to back to another universe. There, when minds, when conscious persons are matched to a body, then you are revived there. Yep.
How does that?
Yes.
No, comparing it to the seed of Adam, was in God's presence, and we acknowledged that he was God.
Yeah, that was the creation. We created that we were created. We don't call it life. Life is only comes into happens when there is death, when it is another universe, when the thing is transferred, and then death happens. Life happens after death. But before creation, we were nothing. And therefore created, it is a unique on its own, a different category than life and death.
But we recognized God before we died and came into this world then.
Yeah, in other universe with God, we acknowledged, and therefore we came with that software that recognize God's word, that we are for example, the Ruh given to us, capable of understand, reason, which has 19 rules of inference, for example, modus ponens, modus tollens, and goes to 19 exactly. All of us are endowed with those, so that we remember, we recognize God's, our promise to God, or our mission, or God's word, the meaning of life, the laws in nature. And like Socrates argued, I don't know how familiar you are with, that we come with innate information. All we do, try to remember, recollect what we forgot. And we are made to forget those things by indoctrination, by dogmas, by false teachings. Therefore, by thinking, by questioning, we are able to discover the truth that is already innate in us, that God has given to us. Okay. Should we continue? Or if anyone wants to add, please feel free.
I find it interesting, that the Quran mentions death. We normally think of life and then we think about death in that kind of order. But the Quran reverses and talks about death and then life and then...
Exactly, because it makes very sense in the theology of the Quran. Is absolutely, that's the way. Because death was the transfer, teleportation of human mind to this earth. But before that, life and death, they did not exist, just simple existence. And death and life, they exist together. One cannot exist without the other one. And when God decided to transfer humans down, banish them to earth, then created life and death.
Yeah, it's a difficult passage to sort of, get absolute clarity on. Also find it fascinating when it talks about You know, when we talk, there's a kind of traditional notion that human beings are born with this knowledge that God gave them before birth. But the reality is, if that was, you know, ever the possibility, all the human beings would, you know, come to that knowledge by themselves. But the reality is they don't. They come to all different kinds of understandings of what life is all about. So it's not very convincing. I've not found it very convincing at the moment. The human beings are just born with the knowledge and they just have to somehow remember it. Because I see that, you know, life is very much a function of free will, where people have to use their reason and all their resources to make sense of where they are. That's not so much remembering, it's actually arriving at a conclusion based on everything they see around themselves, the signs of God. But as I said, it's not an easy concept to understand.
Well, I don't want to make it longer, but for example, what Socrates gave example, like say circle. We see circles, but they're not perfect circles. But somehow any kind of little bit defect and flaw in the circle, we recognize it. We haven't seen a perfect circle, but in our mind, there is a definition of the perfect circle. That is in our mind. Then we always compare to that perfection. In our mind, we have justice. Therefore, we compare injustices to what is ideal injustice, ideal justice. And therefore, I think there is this kind of ideas in us, innate in us, and we are born with it. And if we are not deliberately become selfish, we don't, it is a choice. If we decide to become a good person, honest person, and those universal truths that is from God, to discover them, to remember them, remember or discover, either way you put. And it's not that difficult. All of us come with that nature. Chapter 30, verse 30 says, we created every human being on the nature of peacemaking, correct? Okay. Do you want to continue further, gentlemen, or you want Leslie continue?
Edip, can I just share with you people another argument that I came across regarding this cyclical idea, you know, from ancient Greek and other philosophy. They saw things in a circular kind of manner. But in fact, the Quran talks about more of a linear thing rather than a circular. You know, life is a kind of a continuous development. And the Quran says that God will take you in stages, you know, towards the final destination. So it's a progressive and a linear kind of idea rather than a circular one, which is, you know, associated with ancient Greek and mystical thought. So on one level, the Quran is not actually confirming that. It's talking about a different system for us to contemplate, a linear system rather than a cyclical one.
Okay, let's continue, gentlemen.
We have a lady here too now. Welcome, Sister Binish.
Yeah, Binish, nice to see you.
Salam to everybody.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, if you want, Binish, since you came, and Leslie or Binish, one of you continue verse 29 or 30.
Go ahead, Leslie.
I would say ladies first.
Yes, Binish, but 29 is one of the verses that has been, goodness sake, since Ibn Taymiyyah, or maybe before Ibn Taymiyyah, became the center of their theology. You know, istawa ila samai. God has kind of, he attended to the universe, or he took control of the universe. And istawa ila samai, then they discuss how God took control of the universe. While istawa, they say, means like sitting on the chair, like a throne, and God sat on it like that. It is called jismiya, means God is like a matter, physical thing. They made such stupid arguments about the nature of God, how he sits. And this is major Salafi argument based on this one word in chapter 2, verse 29. They ignore major verses of the Quran, or they don't understand nothing. They are able to miss the most important point, and they speculate on this one. Well, God doesn't like us. God is unlike any of creation. Therefore, finished, done. This very question is moot, is silly, is stupid question. God is not like you. You ignorant person, you think God is someone either like you or the other person. And therefore, personification of God or making like a human being, there is another terminology for that.
Anthropomorphism.
Thank you very much. I knew that word. Say it again. Anthropomorphism.
Anthropomorphism. It comes from the Greek.
Yes,
yeah, anthropos
exactly.
means man in Greek.
Exactly. Thank you.
Morph means to change.
Anthropomorphism. It is difficult for me to pronounce.
It's like anthropology. Think of anthropology.
Of course, we can do that, but that one is letter M with P makes confusion for me. Okay. That is how control, we don't know. First of all, we are in 3 dimensions. We are in time and space. We cannot think anything without time and space. God is beyond time and space. And imagine a child in mother's womb shares the same biology with us in the same world, in the same universe. Still, for that child, while in the womb, imagining about our world will be unfathomable, impossible for that child to make a guess about how our world is. Doesn't have any idea about skies, about sun, about the moon, about the skyscrapers, about cars. Tell them a word, they will, all they know, they will to reduce their imagination is limited with their experience. The same with us. Therefore, speculation on this one is just childish. I will not venture to that. Thank you. Let's finish go on verse 30.
Yeah, sorry, Leslie. Sorry, Brother Edip. I was just saying I'm in loud setting. I'll just hear for now. Okay, I'll just be listening.
No
Thank
problem.
You.
Then Leslie, please continue.
Yeah, okay. So, your Lord said to the controllers, I'm placing a successor on earth. They said, would you place in it he who would corrupt it and shed blood while we sing your glory and praise you? He said, I know what you do not know.
Yeah, this is not the latest version that you contributed. It is on Rainbow Books that we can go there too. Over there, we don't have the footnote. Therefore, I think sometimes it is good. Yeah.
Edip, can I just ask you, and I don't know whether you would
go ahead.
The translation of, the controllers of the Malaika saying, we sing your glory and praise, just seems a little bit too simplistic. Because, controllers are those who are put in charge of certain tasks that they carry out. And they are persistent and consistent in the tasks that they are given. And this is what the meaning of Masabbihu Bihamdika is closer to, rather than saying we sit here and just sing praises. This is a very, very close to the traditional idea that, the action for Muslims is to sit and sing the names of God somehow. They're doing something holy. So I just find that, you know, too close to the traditional mindset. We sing glory and praises. I don't know what you think. Yeah.
With your praise, we move around. Sabaha is like swimming, moving around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it sounds as if God has created these creation just to sit there and praise him because God loves to be praised or something.
Yeah. Well, it is
doesn't
good.
Make any sense.
I think
doesn't make any sense.
Okay. And maybe translation of it, instead of sabbaha, means move around with God's glorification of God. And but it appears to be, it is an action, correct? Sabbaha, yusabbihu. It is moving around to be in an action. And that action is according to God's laws. Okay. The main misconception here is Khalifa. Khalifa is understood as representative and is attributed to God. A reference to God means God's Khalifa, means God's representative on earth, and which is a really major problem with I have with that. And here is Khalifa means someone who follows something. Khalaf, Salaf. Salaf means the previous generation. Khalaf means the subsequent following generation. It is used for community. We made you Khalifa after that community, says the Quran. We made you after that. Therefore, it is like the top of the food chain, or being a top, let's say, species, but replacing one and coming to becoming the top one. And therefore here, I think it is reference to a previous species on earth, which is ancestors of humans, Homo sapiens, and angels learned about God's intention to create another species there, replacing the previous one. And angels witnessed that they were kind of very wild, vicious, killing each other, and therefore they objected or curious about, are you going to create something that will be wild or bloodshed, doing bloodshed? And God says, I know something that you don't know. And we know that that is the capability of Homo sapiens to become peacemakers, good people. And therefore, the Quran initially gives us two examples of children of Adam, correct, in the beginning. It is known in Bible as Abe and Cain, two examples. One is bloodshed, does the bloodshed. The other is a peacemaker. In fact, that is the history of humans. Major one is shirk, first doubting God and following Satan, and second, committing the crime of killing someone, another human being. And these are two cardinal sins, and categorically they are different in the Quran. God does not forgive shirk, means making up lies and attributing them to God, or glorification of lies, and the other is killing another person unjustly.
Can I just make a brief comment on that as well, please? Yeah. Just following on from the previous verse where the Malaika are described as consistently performing duties exactly in conformity with what God requires of them. You know, the human being here is described as Khalifa, the Khalifa. That means somebody who's going to be autonomous and in charge of their own free will, unlike the Malaika. And it seems like this is the distinctive features of human beings, that they will have free will and therefore will be able to make decisions of their own, whether they are right or wrong, they would have charge in a way that the controllers never did have. So they are therefore fearful that this creature, which is autonomous, is likely to conflict with each other, and therefore there'll be a lot of killing and shedding of blood. Whereas the controllers are saying we are constantly just obeying and doing what we do without any question, so there's never any conflict. So I think this is about human free will, which is distinctive feature of human beings.
Okay. Leslie, let's go a little bit faster because I want to finish maybe in 10 minutes, but we need to go a little bit faster.
Okay. He taught Adam the description of all things, and then he displayed them to the controllers and said, "Inform me the descriptions of these things if you are truthful."
Okay. This is about human capacity of recognition of things, relating things to each other, recognizing their function and their utility. Some people understand, they think it's just saying some letters, making a tag to something. That's not enough. This is about attributes, means description of the things. A description of something involves comprehension and understanding. And therefore, it's not just like parrot saying some words, which majority of people, unfortunately, when it comes to their religion, they are just parroting their ancestors or the crowd around them. Yep, and God taught Adam the understanding of the things. And right now, we see our capability of recognizing atoms, molecules, and complex structures, from subatomic particles to galaxies, to all the way to the beginning of the universe, is incredibly impressive. And this is exactly what God refers to, our capability of understanding of the things. For example, we look at the light. Light is not just simple light that illuminate our space and lead us to see the things. At the same time, we study the light, the spectrum of light, and we are able to get a lot of detailed information about the stars and galaxies, their motion, movement. In fact, further than that, about which elements are there, because each element has a print on the spectrum, certain lines on different range on different part of the spectrum. And we recognize them. If this is, this line must be iron, because iron in this world, when we study spectrum, we know iron here, we are able to verify, compare, and therefore the light is a message, is a letter from stars and galaxies, give us information about their history, their speed, rotation, so many things about their temperature. Incredible, this capacity of human be able to read the nature, the book of nature, and be able also to understand God's message through mind. Incredible. And therefore the Quran refers to nature as ayat, correct? The things and events in nature is ayat. And also the message of the Quran is also ayat, means signs, for both of them. Doesn't distinguish nature. Therefore, studying mathematics, studying physics, chemistry, biology, all sciences is serving God, is a beautiful thing. That is what you do. Following them is like following God's law. Following verses of the Quran is no difference. Therefore, making a house in violation of defying gravity or laws of static or laws of geology is disobedience to God. It is immoral. It is basically you become a kafir, an ingrate. Do you have anything else to add, Leslie, on the subject? Perhaps at least say, Edip, you talk too much.
No, I think in your last comment, you were referring to that earthquake in Turkey where a lot of people died because of the negligence of the people, and they did not respect these laws of Allah, the laws of nature, and they even violated building codes, and they cut corners to save money, and thereby they put the lives at risk of the people, and in fact, quite a number of them died because of this carelessness. So yes, it's very unfortunate that
carelessness, corruption, bribery, and not giving the jobs to people who are talented, experienced in the field. They give to their nepotism, their family members. Incredible nepotism there. And also misallocation of the resources. The country has limited resources, people, the budget, and a lot of money is spent to luxury, show off, like the biggest mansion in the world is in Turkey. This guy for a long time waved Hazreti Omar's patchy shirt. He was that just. He told these stories, he came into power. And then imagine, by waving a patchy shirt, showing this example, making himself from people's money the biggest mansion in the world. It is the biggest leap. Incredible, the biggest deception in the world. And not only that, the biggest mosques and the biggest budget for religious affairs, which gives money to people who lead the prayer. All they do, nothing, prayer, and tell people stupid stories, reduce their IQ level. The national IQ level has gone down since this party in about several points, not few points. It is right now, it is considered 86. Of course, I take with a grain of salt the so-called IQ test. There are problems. I have studied, have written an article on that too. But as I think my experience shows, people IQ has gone down dramatically because of these Diyanet İşleri Teşkilatı, the religious affairs organization, which has the budget more than the budget of 4 or 5 ministries, other ministries. Imagine, instead of spending this money on more than 100,000 clergymen, which they help negatively, they contribute negatively to the country. If they spent on making good housing for people, this wouldn't be there. In fact, some houses that made according to the code, absolutely they withstood. In fact, there was a town with about 40, 50,000 population. The mayor in that town did not forgive any violation of the code. People, in fact, got angry with him. They wanted to bribe him and them. And there are multiple mayors of that. It is Ezin, E-Z-I-N, in Kahramanmaraş. This town, the mayors, they kept the tradition. Nope, we are not going to allow more floors than needed. We will not allow anyone cutting the pillars. Can you imagine? They cut the pillars to open space in the first floor. And they didn't allow, and not a single building was not collapsed there. In city, basically, tens of thousands of buildings, huge buildings collapsed. Okay, thank you very much for bringing that issue. Therefore, please don't help the government if you're going to help the earthquake people. They are biggest thieves. They eat their money. They collected $34 billion as extra fee, as extra tax for earthquake, because when they came to power, 2 years before they came to power, there was a major earthquake in 1999 in Istanbul, and therefore they started imposing earthquake tax. What happened to that one? They ate it. They did not use it for earthquake. And therefore they couldn't, for 2-3 days, they didn't even show up. People were screaming for help and people died from cold. It's horrible. Therefore, don't help the government. If you can help the foreign countries, European countries, American countries, I'm sorry, the rescue, like Red Cross and other rescue missions, and through them, because they are they are moral, they don't eat like they do. Yes.
So we have to do things by the book. If we are constructing buildings, we have to do the by the book of physics. And if we are dealing with moral issues, we have to do it by the book of Allah.
Yeah, they betrayed the Muslim countries, so-called Muslim countries. They betrayed these two books, the book of nature, the book of universal moral values that talks about moral values. Absolutely, beautifully put. Thank you very much, Leslie. Canan Kalash, nice to see you too. I see a bridge there, but I don't see you. Canan Kalash is from Germany, a wonderful activist. She went around the world. She took Quran and Reformist translation, gave to people all around the world. Guess what, Canan? In Indonesia, since you went there, you gave people Quran Reformist translation. Now there are dozens of academic papers published on that, and they are unbelievably, they are getting enlightened with the message of the Quran. They are leaving hadith and those sectarian teachings. MashaAllah. Okay. Are we continuing a few more verses? Let's go to about at least this section. Who is reading? Leslie?
Well, I'm willing to pass the mic to someone else if anyone is interested.
Anyone else who is here would like to read? Carl, you didn't read any. You read only one verse and you retired.
I read 2 verses, but
okay.
I'll read 234. Okay. He said to the controllers,
I can read now if I'm audible.
Okay.
Audible?
Okay, go ahead. But let's Carl finish read few verses and then after that. Okay. Yes, Carl.
Okay. He said to the controllers, submit to Adam. So they submitted, except for the despaired. He refused, and he became arrogant and became of the ingrates. He said, O Adam, reside you and your mate in the paradise and eat from it bountifully as you both wish, and do not approach this tree, else you will be those who did wrong. Now, so in 234, you use despaired for Satan. I take it.
Let me check.
I'm not sure what word you're trying.
Hold on. Let me check here whether I have in other one. It is which verse? 34 to 34.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Here also. We didn't change Iblis, Belasa. It has meaning of despair, but what is your suggestion? Or
I guess I'm just used to a traditional way of looking at it as Iblis or Satan.
But Iblis has a meaning in Arabic.
This is so strange without.
Yeah, for the display.
Yeah.
For example, Shaitan is a pervert, or the one who is diverted. And I prefer using that one because in Arabic has meaning. For example, when we say angel, it just relates to folklore, relates to what is in people's mind. But melek, it comes from mulk, from authority, from domain, like melik means king. Melek means the one who is control the things. and natural laws are God's angels or meleks, controllers, like gravity, like the light, even the numbers are God's controllers. Yep. Okay. Should I go back to other one, correct? The other page. It is better looking.
Yeah, I mean, without more description, there needs to be something close to the verse, not always flipping to the back of the surah to find a meaning.
Okay.
Maybe more footnotes on the pages themselves.
We go until verse 40, okay? We have few more verses to go finish it until verse, okay.
Does somebody else want to read, or you want me
Yes,
to continue?
Benish, go ahead.
Benish,
Okay,
are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Am I reading from the screen that's being shared?
35, yes.
235, okay. We said, O Adam, reside you and your mate in the paradise, and eat from it bountifully as you both wish. And do not approach this tree, else you will be of those who did wrong.
Yeah, there are speculation on this tree. What do you understand from this tree, Benish?
Well, I don't really think that it was actual tree. I think it was just kind of like, a command was given to both of them to just not do something. And
the verse says shajara, tree, but tree is also used in the Quran that something has causal connection, leads to certain things. Like tree, there is root, gives fruit. Right. If you water it, it gives fruit. If you don't water, it doesn't give fruit. Or it is bad tree, it gives bad fruit. Therefore, tree is also metaphor for the successive events that lead to certain consequences and results, fruits. Therefore, it is both could be, you can imagine as a tree, but here is really the tree of sequence of choices that we make in our lives lead us to different directions, correct? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
You want to continue further?
Yeah. So the devil tricked both, and he brought them out from what they were in. And we said, descend, you are all enemies of one another. In the land shall be stability for you and luxury for a while.
I want to apologize for those who know Arabic. Unfortunately, here we have a problem in calligraphy. For example, ila, this must be Y, not elif. Somehow it turns the last Y to elif. There is a problem in the programming, and I haven't yet corrected it. I really apologize. Okay, go ahead. The devil tricked both and brought both of them out from what they were in. We said, descend. We are all enemies to another. In the land shall be stability and luxury. Okay. Yeah, here, as you see, it is different than the Christian made-up theology about who is first, who first disobeyed and who duped the other. They basically, the storytellers accuses Eve for duping, for letting Adam lose, correct? And therefore, all the accusation, all the scapegoating going to women. And the Quran doesn't do that. Basically, in fact, men and women are together over there. Adam is really prototype all of us, including men and female. Adam in the Quran is a prototype human being. but then bifurcated to men and women, but both of them are held responsible for the choice they do. But if you see St. Paul,
because it goes from the
yes. Well, what do you say, Carl?
The idea of descend, the idea of descend is not a literal direction, is it? It's more of a of coming to a lower moral standard or something.
Beautiful. Yeah, exactly. Very good point.
And
I
they
always
go
thought sorry.
No, go ahead.
I always thought that this dissension was a kind of a direction. So like coming from God's kingdom to earth.
But
I
it
could
is
be
up
wrong.
and down. It is in our universe. It is in space we are in. We call it up and down in relation to our location. It's really a lot of, it is relative, okay? It is relative. For example, in North Hemisphere, we think we are up or down. There is no up and down in the space.
Right, okay.
Okay.
So like dissension is more like on the character.
Yeah, it is character.
Human being.
Because
okay.
the Quran says they became monkeys and pigs and even lower than animals, means they betrayed their intellectual faculties, which is the biggest blessing to humanity. Yes, we have 3 more verses or 4 more verses to finish this section today. Do you want to continue?
Am I still reading? I can.
Yes, yes, you read until including 40. We are stopping there.
Okay. Adam then received words from his Lord, so he forgave him. He is the forgiver, the compassionate.
MashaAllah. He received words from his Lord. Wow, this is interesting. I don't want much speculate on it, but فَتَلَقَّى آدَمُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلِمَاتٍ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ, based on some statements, words that Adam returned to God. And there are certain
Can I just add a brief comment on here?
Yes.
Given that Adam was given clear instructions to stay away, stay clear of this tree, Adam was in a happy state. And then the statement says that once he disobeyed that instruction, he descended into a new state whereby God says, now you will be enemies to each other. One of the implication, it seems to me, is that Adam descended into a lower state where there would be a lot of conflict potentially now between people when they divide themselves up as they do in the world. So one of the meanings of shajara is this branching off of, from one common humanity into several different factions. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that, God's, in the following verse, 238, it says that, God promises to send him guidance. And so long as he follows the guidance, he will be fine. So it looks like that, when it says that, I think you've gone too high now. When it says that, when God taught him kalematin, it means that God showed him the path and then and showed the mistake to Adam, and he fataba alay, he returned. In other words, he admitted his mistake. And this is a big distinction between the reaction of Iblis and Adam. When Adam makes a mistake, he admits and confesses his mistake and seeks forgiveness. And therefore, he's able to improve beyond that. He's not arrogant. Whereas in the case of Iblis, he doesn't accept that he's made a mistake. He blames God. Anyway,
Exactly.
I just want to stop.
Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, continue, please, Benish.
Okay. Well, this is my favorite verse. We said, descend from it, all of you. So when the guidance comes from me, then whoever follows my guidance, they will have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve.
ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Wow. Absolutely. When we are God conscious, God conscious, and when we know that the creator of the universe is with us and will be taking us to himself, and when we know that this worldly life is just a very temporary place, absolutely, there is nothing to fear, to be even upset with, to grieve. That's beautiful.
I just wanted to ask about one thing that's in this verse. The reminder, is that indicating, what does it indicate? I used to think it's indicating the Quran or the understanding of the Quran that people get to, because not everybody understands the
Which one,
Quran
reminder or Huda? Huda guidance.
Yes, sorry, I meant guidance, not reminder. Please forgive me. Sorry about that. No, I meant guidance.
Huda guidance. Interestingly, Huda is one of the attributes of the Quran, and it has exactly 19 numerical value, like it is equivalent of Wahid. Wahid for God. God is one, and one Wahid has numerical value of 19 as God's attribute. And this attribute of the Quran, Huda, is exactly 19. 5, 4, Huda. There is no Elif there. Elif is put there. I have no idea where it comes. Huda is like He, 3 letters is written. Anyway, He is 5, Dal is 4, Ya is 10. As I told you, there are some extra ellipses put here. It messes up even Basmala. Satan is here. Honestly, Satan entered. This is the only place that you see Basmala. There is Elif after Ba. Make the Basmala 20 letters. Satan attacked this website. We need to save it from. It's unbelievable, crazy. Okay. Very strange, no, honestly, and it is my problem. I let Satan take over and this website and add letters, Elif. Well, I have been the one debating with the Sunni scholars. They make up extra letters from their hallucination. They say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim is 21 letters, not 19. And now come to my website, there is one extra elif is added to that one, make it 20 letters, not 21, but it's not 19, they like it. Therefore, I need to change it. Yes, mashallah.
The 238, 38 is 2 times 19.
Oh, very interesting. I haven't seen that, but very interesting, yes. And it is Hidayah. 19 is God's really Huda to us. MashaAllah.
Just to address Binish's point, I think, God is promising to send his guidance or his ayat, and which is clearly relates to the revelations that have descended through several prophets. And Adam has been promised, him and his progeny are going to receive this guidance. And so long as they adhere to the stipulation and the instruction, the guidance, they have nothing to fear, neither in this world nor in the hereafter, because this guidance is for this world and not for the hereafter. This is to give them the good news of success, of a successful life and a peaceful life here and a prosperous life here, as well as to the next life.
MashaAllah. Leslie, you are joining from Malaysia. What time is it there? We have 2 more verses to go.
Here it is 6:18 a.m. and they're just doing the azan for Fajr prayer.
You are sleepless, correct?
Well, not quite sleepless, but I did have to make some adjustments.
Yeah, mashallah. Thank you very much. Your participation is very well appreciated. And okay, we have 2 more verses to go. Benish, please go ahead.
Those who do not appreciate and deny our signs, they are the dwellers of fire. In it they will abide.
Okay, that's it. We stop here. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَكَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا أُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. The interesting أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ, they are dwellers of fire. In chapter 74, verse 31, it is used for angels, correct? Controllers. وَمَا جَعَلْنَا أَصْحَابَ النَّارِ إِلَّا مَلَائِكَةً. We made the dwellers of fire only controllers, only malaika. Why it is? Very interesting. Ashab al-nar by itself is not really a negative word because it could be used for controllers of fire or for the number 19. Very interesting. We let this question here, if you have answer for that, why Ashab al-Nar has double meaning. Means Ashab al-Nar means not dwellers, means related, those who are associated with fire. Associates of fire. Ashab means associate. For Muhammad's associates, it is called وَمَا صَاحِبُكُمْ. Sahib is singular form of Ashab. وَمَا صَاحِبُكُمْ بِمَجْنُونَ. Your associate is not a crazy man, correct? Sahaba is called Ashab. Ashab is glorified in Sunni and Shiite literature. In the Quran is not. Sahaba means a contemporary of Muhammad, whether a good person or bad person. There were hypocrites among them, very good people, monotheists among them. Okay, but let's leave this question. But I think when it is, we translate it as associated with hell, with fire. What do you see right now? Okay. And that time it is possible that the angels also associated with fire. They are 19 and they escape in this world from 19, but in the hereafter, they're also always, they will be guarded by 19. They cannot escape from 19. Very interesting story. Okay, I want to close here. Nice to see you people here again. I apologize for not acknowledging some other people here. I didn't hear them. Linda, Mehmet, Ishak, and Zoom user. Linda was, okay, Linda is here. Canan Kalach. And the others, they don't show themselves, therefore I don't need to say their names. Do you have anything to say, Leslie, Carl, Linda, anyone who wants to have final words so that I close?
Oh, just thank you for the session and nice seeing everybody. And inshallah, hopefully we'll see you again next week.
Yeah. And next
Same
time,
for me, brother.
God bless you, Linda. Thank you very much. Yeah.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
See you inshallah next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam,
Walaikum
salam.